Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So a few weeks ago I posted a classics or trash featuring the Urban Decay Naked palette and a few other products that have been going around the YouTube world for a while now. Honestly, that video has gotten more views than any other video I've posted since I started filming again. So I thought, maybe this is something y'all like seeing. So I decided to do another classics or trash video. This time it is featuring the Sweet Peach palette. And teaser, teaser, hint, hint, I have not one but two trashes today. If you want to know how I got this look and my opinion on the Sweet Peach palette and a few other classic or trash products, just keep watching. I've already primed my eyes using Max Painterly Paint Pot, and of course that's a classic. I very rarely use other eyeshadow primers. That is pretty much my go-to always, and it has been for years. From the Sweet Peach palette, I'm taking the shade Candied Peach on a fluffy brush, and I'm running that on the brow bone, so just above the crease but not quite up to where I'm going to place the highlight. So on the brow bone all the way to the inner corner. I know that 90% of people know where your brow bone is, but I know that I have some super beginners. So that's why I tend to like over explain things. This pinky coral is one of my favorite transition shades. Next, I'm going in with the shade Summer Yum on a fluffy brush that's just a little smaller. And I'm running this from the inner corner, from the outer corner to the inner corner in the crease. And I want this shade pretty intense, so I am picking up product a couple of times as I apply. That way I get the intensity that I want, but it's still going on nice and blended and soft. I'm going to use the same brush in the shade Delectable, this really pretty plum shade. Still going outer corner all the way to inner corner, because on a halo eye we want the focus to be in the center, not that inner corner. I think that's beautiful. Going back to that very first brush, just to make sure everything's nice and blended. I'm taking the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. It worked surprisingly well on my lid when I used it to cut the crease, so I'm using it again on a tiny flat brush, and I'm popping it in the center of the lid just to brighten that up a little bit. I'm going on top of that concealer with a flat brush in the shade Nectar. I'm going on each side of Nectar with the same flat brush in the shade Candied Peach. Taking a pencil brush in the shade Delectable, running that under the lower lash line. Almost all the way to the inner corner. You know I like my landmarks, so about where that iris starts right there, that's my stopping point. Taking the shade Candied Peach on that same pencil brush, and I'm going from the inner corner and meeting that plum shade. And it's okay if they overlap in the middle. Okay. Taking the shade Tempting and a super flat brush. This one's from Luxie. I like 4 of these brushes that are shaped this way. This is one of my favorite brushes. I use it to carve a brow, do a liner. Oh my god, it's so good. Okay. And I'm going right in that little pocket. Like, y'all, I don't want a whole lot of this going on, okay? That little lash pocket down here. And to get to that little lash pocket, look, I lay that brush on my lashes, push my lashes down a little bit, and then wiggle that into the lid. That's how you find that little lash pocket. But even with this shadow, I still went from a thinner line to a thicker line. Out here, it's just much softer because I didn't use a felt tip. I didn't realize my camera had stopped recording. The only thing that I did was take that same Tempting shade on that same brush and just run it under the lashes down here to where that plum shade meets that coral shade, really snug to the lash line. That's the only thing I added that the camera missed. Oops. I'm using a flat brush and I'm going to mix these 2 shades, White Peach and Peaches and Cream, and that's what I'm going to use to highlight my brow bone. I mean, White Peach on its own is an intense brow highlight, but I wanted a little more than Peaches and Cream, so that's why I smooshed those 2 together. Make sure there's a good blend between the transition shade and your brow bone highlight. For mascara, I'm using MAC False Lashes. This mascara has been around forever and ever. Okay, it is a traditional tapered wand. It is more of a wet consistency, which I tend to like, but I'm taking one for the team on this one because I know that this mascara does not tend to wear on me. People love false lashes though, and I do really like the wand. Oh, got a smudge. Don't forget, if that happens, let it dry before you try to clean it up. It's just kind of underwhelming for me. I'm gonna call it. It's my first trash. MAC False Lashes. It just doesn't give me the lash that I know that I can get from other mascaras that wear better on me, that don't flake, that don't smudge, that don't run into my eye and cause my eyes to water all day. Other mascaras build prettier. I like the wand on false lashes, but even at work, I don't sell false lashes that often. Very rarely put people in false lashes. Trash. Let's move on to face.
I swear I already have little mascara flakes in my eye.
If you saw my last classics or trash video, I said that I didn't have a foundation primer that had been like overly hyped or YouTube hyped or whatever for that long. I dug out a sample. I found a sample of the OG Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. Just like with any primer that's meant to reduce texture, which is what the photo finish is for, you want to make sure that you press it in to your skin. That's how you're going to get the maximum benefit from it. And I'll be honest, I do not have good memories of this primer. Because basically, you're just dumping your face into a bath of dimethicone. I'm concentrating it where I have like my forehead dumb face lines. Okay. It's been a while since this first popped up on YouTube, but I don't think it's old enough to call it a classic, but I know I love it either way. It's the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. I'm using that on my beauty sponge from e.l.f. Anyway, I know I've not made the call on whether the Sweet Peach palette is classic or trash yet. I think I'm going to save it for the end of the video like I did with my Urban Decay Naked palette. Because truly, I haven't decided with this one yet either. Just because I was able to get a pretty look, does that mean it's classic? I don't know. The wheels are turning. I'm debating. Because sis fell asleep on the couch last night until 5 o'clock this morning, and I don't sleep well on my couch. So it is definitely a concealer kind of day. I don't always use concealer. I've probably said this 14 times, but that was the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. And for contour, I'm going to use MAC's Studio Stick. The shade NC50 is what I got for contour. Okay, taking that same e.l.f. beauty sponge. Ooh. Well, we can't have that. I forgot the concealer at my jawline. We gotta have all the cake. And just like last time, I left the under eye for last. That way those moisturizers in that concealer have time to absorb and absorb. Sometimes I make up my own words. Anyway, blending the concealer out last gives those moisturizers in the concealer time to absorb, and that way you're left blending out more pure pigment, thus getting a better coverage. Oh my god, my eye is watering so bad from that mascara. I knew I shouldn't have done it. Like, while I was putting it on, I kind of eyeballed it for a second and I was like, we gonna play today? Shouldn't have done it. Bitch was not ready. Bitch being me, I was not ready. Okay. I'm setting my under eye using MAC's Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Light. To set the rest of the face, I will use MAC's Mineralized Skin Finish in medium because I'm out of Light Plus. God, I love this stuff so much. There's nothing prettier on the skin than Mineralized Skin Finish. When I got the Sweet Peach palette for my eyes, I also picked up the Sweet Peach palette for my face. So, I'm going to use the bronzer, blush, and highlight from this palette. I love this palette. I was so sad because I felt like nobody on YouTube talked about this palette. Everybody was obsessed with like the lips. I loved the lip oils. Those were great from the Sweet Peach collection. And everybody of course talked about the eyeshadow palette, but nobody talked about this. And I loved it. Oh my goodness. This was like one of my favorite products that whole year. I think I got this the year I hit VIB Rouge. Ugh. That's gross. I've not spent that much money on makeup in a single year since. This really pretty peachy pink blush from the palette. I remember I used this cheek palette for long after I used the eyeshadow palette. When the eyeshadow palette was like buried at the back of my drawer, I was still rocking this cheek palette. And the formula on these are really, really buttery too. Like, it's not super powdery, but it's not a cream. Honestly, the entire reason I bought this cheek palette was for the highlight. At that time, I remember this is the prettiest highlight I had ever seen. Oh, that's beautiful. I wish they had done this highlight in a single. God, I'm just highlighting everything with this. Like, everything. The peach smell's still there. But I'm gonna pop some under the brow. Give that a little extra snatch and lift. Oh my god. There's just, it's the perfect amount of peach and gold and pink in this. Oh my god. I don't have another highlight in my collection that's quite like this. All the ones that I have are a little more gold or a little more pink or a little more peach. This one's just so unique. The cheek palette is a definite win. I don't know if it's what I would call a classic because nobody freaking talked about it, but it's definitely a win. Smashbox primer, it's a classic. It's not for me. I don't like that silicone based primer, but you can't argue with the fact that the silicone based primers, y'all, once that whole face was laid down, look how smoothly everything laid. Like, my face looks like I'm 21 again, y'all. I love it, and that's what a silicone based primer is meant to do. It's meant to fill in any texture and help whatever you lay on top lay like butter. I mean, we're talking baby's butt smooth, right? It does its job. Just because it's not meant for me doesn't mean it's a bad product. It's actually a really great product. If I could give every girl in the world that wears makeup a gift, it would be MAC's Prep and Prime Lip. Okay. It honestly breaks my heart when I see somebody apply lipstick or lip liner specifically without using Prep and Prime Lip. And I wasn't a believer. Y'all, I've worked for MAC for 6 years and I wasn't a believer until last year in Prep and Prime Lip. Ooh, I know what made everything go on smoother, but I was working a 9-hour day by myself and sis was busy, didn't have a minute to touch up, and around hour 7 my lip was still on. It was a little faded, but it was faded evenly, okay, and there was still a significant amount of color there. From that point on, I have not applied a lip without applying Prep and Prime Lip. Okay, for my lip pencil, I'm using Strip Down from MAC. I've used this in a couple of videos. It was actually my first lip pencil from MAC. I know I've used Strip Down in videos before. It's a classic. And I know at one point I had like one on my vanity, one in my car, one in my purse, and one in my brush belt at work. On top of Strip Down liner, I'm using Blankety lipstick from MAC. Blankety is the perfect pinky nude. It's an amplified formula, so it's super creamy, dries down to like a demi-matte formula, not totally matte, but definitely not like a super glossy. It's beautiful, super heavy color payoff. I like it because it's just enough pink. And I think it blends really pretty on top of Strip Down to like with this pinky peach look that I've got going on. Okay, I'm going to go apply lashes. I will tell you all about those when I come back, and I will make my final call on the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. So this is the completed look. I hope you guys like it. The lashes that I used are by Kiss. They are the Naked Drama Veil lashes. I will insert a picture of them here. Okay, I said I would make a call on the Sweet Peach palette and whether I thought it was a classic or trash. This was a tough one, y'all, because first of all, I will say that I can get a gorgeous look from the colors in this palette. I love the look that I got today. the colors don't always blend well together. This like plum shade, sometimes it will pick up the other shades like as you're blending. The same thing with this coral shade, like it doesn't lay well on top of other shades. It works well as a base shade, but it doesn't blend well into other shades. There are definitely more shimmers than mattes. It's not a bad palette, but I wouldn't call it a classic. I was more excited about the cheek palette than I was the eye palette when I bought it, and that's the same case now. I definitely would have to call the Sweet Peach palette trash. Unpopular opinion. Because I don't believe that just because you can make something work that makes it good. I think's what I think. Let me know if you disagree. Do you agree? Do you still have this palette? I mean, I'll still use it. It's beautiful. I don't necessarily regret buying it. Sometimes I get a wild hair and pull it out. Might as well. I have it, right? I definitely wouldn't spend $50 on it today. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. My last classics or trash video went really well. That's why I decided to go ahead and film this one. If you want to keep seeing classics or trash videos, let me know. And I'll see you guys soon. Sounded like a pterodactyl. Like Granny can barely see the colors on here, so I'm like, give me my readers. I'm allowed to do that. It's my video.